Hello, everybody, and welcome to my review of One Piece Chapter 1057, titled Final Curtain, or as I'd like to call the chapter, Strawhat Island. All right. Well, let's get right down to brass tacks. Um, First off, we're just gonna go through all the things that I need to go through at the beginning every every live stream. This is for money purposes, so we can keep getting uh, funding here. So starting off, we have a Patreon. Um, and oh, hey, we got Trixie Anime Hada in here. So good to see you, dude. Um, yes, we do have a Patreon. You can find that at www.patreon.com/AfroX. And you will be able to sign up in there's different tiers, and they go in increments of 5, 10, 30, 50, and $100 a month. And you will be able to sign up there to do that and donate to the channel. At the different tiers, you'll get different rewards and things like that. If you've seen any of my former videos, I've explained the rewards a ton of times. So I think I'm just gonna skip over it for today. But if you want to see what the rewards are, go check that out on my Patreon. We do also have merch for $30 USD. You can buy an official AfroX t-shirt at www.teespring.com/store/Afro-X-2. And that is where we have our t-shirts. We also have a TikTok, which I just put out content on this morning. It's a lot of goofy random stuff, not really related to anime, but it's still on brand with the kind of energy we try to keep here. And you can find that on TikTok. It's called at AfroX_YT. Make sure to follow me on there, trying to get 1,000 followers so I can start doing lives on TikTok, which would be so good. All right, I believe that is all. So let's get down to business. One Piece chapter 1057. So we start off with getting the third and final look into Uta's music. And Ichiro Oda giving us little glimpses of what One Piece Film Red will encapsulate. Um, which is very exciting. And this beginning story is just of Uta when she was a kid and her mother is singing to her. We don't get to see her eyes or anything, but we do get to see um, pretty close to a silhouette of what Uta's mother, or supposedly Shanks's wife or lover, looks like, which is really interesting. But yeah, the song that she's writing is called "Where the Wind Blows," which is really cool. We get a little note from Oda here, which says, "I got a One Piece trading card game starter deck for my staff, and they've been playing for over 10 hours. Is it really that fun? I want to go." Um, well, we'll find out. I'd love to get some One Piece trading cards. All right. One Piece chapter 1057, Final Curtain. In the cover art, so as you know, Katakuri and Oven have just gone to attack the Germas that are trying to escape, and all of a sudden, um, Caesar Clown comes and puts out a huge gas attack on all of them, just tries to third party the whole bunch. And we're gonna see what happens. This is an amazingly drawn page. First of all, um, I love what Oda's done with this panel. Uh, so we start off looking at the capital, and pretty much this whole chapter is set as a theater production. And it's telling the story of what has just happened in Wano. So we're just hearing all of this, seeing that it's a play and stuff like that, and then we go to the forest near to Okage Port, and it is revealed that Yamato is not joining the Straw Hats, at least not right now. Yamato is going to stay in Wano and do what Odin did. He says, Yamato says that Odin began his tour of Wano, or began his journey with a tour of Wano, and that Yamato is going to just tour the whole country and find out as much as he can find out about this country. So immediately it becomes a point of contention that Momonosuke and by proxy Kinemon are both very, very upset because they think that Luffy has left them behind and is not gonna say goodbye to them. So Momonosuke is thinking back on his old memories. We have a couple of flashbacks here, and we have the flashback of Kaido about to drop Momonosuke off of Kozuki Castle. And we have some flashbacks of Luffy and Momonosuke fighting when they had first met. And then his promise to help defeat Kaido, and the alliance being made. And when Momonosuke gets kidnapped by Kanjuro, Luffy saying, "Find a way to survive, we'll have your back." Just all these really, really important moments. Momonosuke being chained up by Kaido, and even though he was beaten, he still gave out his name, that he was Kozuki Momonosuke, the man who will be Shogun of Wano. And then the moment when they're fighting Kaido, and Luffy tells him to fly and stop Onigashima, and says, "I will definitely beat Kaido." And so we go back to the present. Momonosuke and Kinemon still rushing towards the port, and Kinemon says, "Is there a reason we aren't flying?" And that's never responded to. But yeah, pretty much they're saying, "Hey, like, depending on what Luffy says, this is an offense to the Shogun of Wano, and we might give him some hurts." And so they show up at the port, and I love this panel so much. Oda going above and beyond to do a full panel here of the Straw Hat ship next to a dragon, and you really get to see the scale of Momonosuke now. Like, Momonosuke is a full-length dragon. But yeah, they get there, and Momonosuke transforms back into human form and tackles Luffy, and he right away, like, like, he seems angry, and then all of a sudden Oda just gives a full panel of Momonosuke just ugly crying. Trickster says, Yamato, are you saying Yamato recreating the journey? For sure. he just ugly cries and he's like, please don't leave. And we really get to see just the scale of Momonosuke being 20 years old but still being 8 years old on the inside. um he just thanks all of them, and Luffy calls for Zoro. Zoro says that's quite the pitiful sight. Um, and Nami says, "Cut him a break. He's still a little kid on the inside." And we know Mama Nami coming back. We for sure know Mother Nami coming back. Anyways, Luffy calls for Usopp, and they give Momonosuke a replica of their flag um to fly over Wano. And he's like, you can't fool me. Like, I know you're still a kid on the inside. You may be Shogun, but you're you're still cheap seats, my boy. You're still you ain't in the nosebleeds, my dude. Um, and he's like, I think of you like a little brother, and I think this is a very important point to touch on, because Luffy says, I think of you like a little brother." And we know that Luffy's brothers aren't actually related by blood. And so this is Luffy saying, you are now a part of my like deep family. Like it's not Luffy, Ace, and Sabo anymore. It is Luffy, Ace, Sabo, and Momonosuke. Like, he has become part of the Brotherhood. Um, he's the littlest of the Brotherhood, and also at the same time, the oldest of the Brotherhood. Um, but yeah. Luffy says, "I think of you like a little brother," which I think is cool. Um, he says, "Hang it up somewhere in Wano. If any major bad news comes knocking, just point them to it. Uh, I'll let them know that screwing with our friends is the same as screwing with us." Or it'll let them know. Yeah. So Luffy pretty much flat out says, "You know what? You know what, boy? This my island now. Like, like if anyone comes to mess with you guys, you point at that flag there and you say you really want to mess with this. We like this island is now protected by an official Yonko. Like yeah, you point at that flag and you tell them you mess with us, you got a Yonko. You got a Yonko on your back. You got a Yonko with a target on you. So yeah, that that flag pretty much says, can't nobody mess with Wano anymore, or they bring in the wrath of the god on themselves. Um so yeah, and I love this part because Momonosuke still cries and he says the thing that so many of us have asked so many times. He says, "Does that mean I am one of you?" Mm, mm, that gets me in the feels. Oh no, why you have to get me in the feels? So Luffy says, "Kinemon, Yamato, Momo, if any of you ever want to be pirates, I'll come for you right away." So literally Luffy saying, "Hey, all of you, you Straw Hats now. Like, all three of you are official Straw Hats now." Um, but he says, "Just remember, I won't have any weaklings on board." So I mean, that's his stipulation, is that, hey, if you're a friend and you're not weak, yeah, you can join my crew, which I think is absolutely awesome. I'm sorry, this dude, these moments just making me tear up. Um, so he says, "Take care of him, Yamato," and off they go. Uh, and Momonosuke makes a vow. He says, Kinemon, mark my words, someday I will surpass Kozuki Oden. And Kinemon says, I will be by your side when you do. And it's funny because Yamato goes, you talking about me? No! So then Nami gives out the name of the next island. They are going to an island called Hakumai. Which in the meta of One Piece and just the talk in the community and stuff, I don't believe we've heard of Hakumai yet. I mean, I'm trying to just glean some reference from what I know of Japanese. I believe Haku in Japanese means white or blank. And Mai is like a phonetic version of saying my. Although they would have used, if it was my, they would have used Boku no. Trick says Luffy making claim over island. He definitely is. Like, we can kind of say that Wano is like the Straw Hats home base now. It's a new island. It is a new island. But yeah, Hakubai sounds interesting. So there's a main port going out of Wano that'll let them be like cranked down into the ocean. Uh, but Kid laughs at them and he's like, you guys would take the main port because it's the safest way. And Luffy and Law get really mad at that. And Law also earlier in the chapter reminds them, like, next time we meet, we're enemies, so don't be shocked if we're shooting to kill you. Like, it's all done, which is really scary considering that their powers have gone up. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about a real competition, Law could probably do some serious damage to Luffy. Not even gonna lie. So I mean that's a bit scary. And so since they all got really upset about it and are trying to look tough, all three of the ships decide, you know what? We're not going to get cranked down. We're going to fly right off the edge of the waterfall. And this is interesting because this is very interesting because it mirrors what I've been saying this whole arc. The Wano arc has been nearly dead on mirroring the Skypiea saga or the Skypiea arc. And that is because Big Mom tried to shock Luffy with lightning. Didn't work because he's made of rubber. Luffy throws lightning at Kaido. Luffy takes out the bad guy with a big punch that makes his fist really round and big, just like he did with Eneru. And now they are falling out of the country, which is what happened in Skypiea 2. And I just think it's really interesting that the Wano arc has mirrored the Skypiea arc so much. There's other ways it's mirrored it. I can't really think of the smaller ways now, but yeah. So then kind of the voiceover of the play continues going on and says the might of the outlaws recruited by Lord Momonosuke and Kinemon made them akin to real-life wisdom kings. Their power descended like a wrathful tsunami, obliterating all in its path. Even Kaido the Dragon King and the yokai-possessed giant Oiran failed to withstand their assault. So they called Big Mom the yokai-possessed giant Oiran. If you remember at the beginning of Wano, Big Mom was like super nice and she was just touring Wano and because she had lost her memories, and then she just suddenly became really horrible. And so to the people of Wano, they look at Big Mom and they're like, that's like a geisha that got possessed by a demon. Um so they like the people of Wano don't really know what Big Mom is at all. And so they're just going on what they're guessing. Um the heavens themselves are torn as painful shrieks reverberated through the air. Then we get a little more insight here into what actually happened when Denjiro defeated Orochi, and that like after his head was cut off, like Orochi wasn't dead. He was still just sitting there burning, and his final words were, "The Kurozumi's family's grudge shall continue to curse this rotten land, generation after generation for all eternity." And then Hiyori stands up and says, "We all know their name. Kurozumi means charcoal." And she says, "The Kurozumi were born to burn," which is a great reversal of fortune, considering that first Kozuki Oden burned in that pot when he was being tortured, and now we have the reverse, that Orochi is dying by being burned. Um, so I mean, we get to the end of the play that they're talking about, and there's a note here that says this part of the Rakugo is a reference to a novel, Shinsengumi Blood Wind Record. Don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty cool. Then we get one shot of Momonosuke and all his retainers and Otama. That concludes today's tale on our nation's renowned samurai. And so we don't really get to see where it's put, but Momonosuke says, "Now where shall we place this flag?" Um, and based on the shot there, I'm guessing they're gonna fly the flag directly over Kozuki Castle, which would be really really cool because I mean you would be able to see that from the ocean and be like, okay, this island is protected by Straw Hat Luffy and his crew. So yeah, then we get the final curtain, and Oda being a real showman here, and closes the curtain on Wano, as it says, "Inherited will never fades." But the only part that we care about is that there's no break next week. Bam bam, no break. Going straight to 1058. No break. Going straight to 1058. Going straight to 1058. There we go. Anyways, that is chapter 1057 of One Piece. It was exciting. It was great. I absolutely loved it. Now, there is one big idea that I want to touch on at the end of all this, which is we really see in this chapter that Luffy's done being a kid. We didn't want Luffy to lose himself in becoming the sun god, but he didn't lose himself, but he grew up when he became the sun god, which is kind of ironic considering that the sun god is Luffy literally turning into a cartoon kid. Um, but this whole arc has transformed Luffy from being naive and uh well, he's still kind of impulsive, but from being naive and not knowing the way the world works to being a person who can be like, okay, my like I'm an inspiration to people. I need to use my status and my platform to make the world a better place. And he's realizing that, like, hey, other people are gonna come after me, and I have to pave the way for the next generation. Just as the previous generation paved the way for Luffy, Luffy is now paving the way for the next generation, which does suggest that there will be another person who steps up to try to become king of the pirates after Luffy. Um, and that person, we don't know who they are. Um, but hopefully we will find out. Trick says Theater Island is now done. That is correct. Um, really, this whole arc has just been one big theater production, if you're being honest. But the main point I wanted to get to is that Luffy has now grown up. And now we see a shift here, if I can do that. We see a shift here that Luffy has now become Shanks. Luffy is now at the status that Shanks was at when Shanks first met Luffy in Windmill Village. Luffy has become Shanks. Shanks has now become Gold Roger, and very fully you can see the both of the connections in Shanks and Gold Roger. No Devil Fruit has advanced Conqueror's Haki mastered with using a sword as an outlet. So Shanks definitely is Gold Roger, and his final, and like I said in my Big Fat One Piece theory, Shanks's final transformation fully into Gold Roger will be that Luffy will not become king of the pirates, but Shanks will become king of the pirates because Luffy will let him. And so Shanks, all Shanks needs to do is get to the One Piece, defeat Blackbeard, or have Luffy defeat Blackbeard in the end and become king of the pirates, and then Shanks is full on the Gold Roger of this generation. Then Luffy now is the new Shanks. He's going to be the mysterious guy who sits in the shadows and watches the next generation come along. And if we're keeping track on what I'm saying here, it really looks like Yamato is going to be the next Luffy. Like, Yamato is just like, hey, I'm going to take time touring Wano, and I will get out to sea eventually. And what I'm hoping, or what would be really cool, is once One Piece is done, maybe we'll see a second smaller story. Like, I don't want to overwork Oda or anything, but maybe a second smaller story of Yamato's journey. And see just where Yamato goes. Because as you know, like, no matter what island you start from, you kind of need to go to every island to get to get to the final island. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Shanks becomes Gold Roger, Luffy becomes Shanks, Yamato becomes Luffy. And yeah, but it's really cool that Luffy made it official that there's 3 new Straw Hats. Yamato, Momonosuke, and Kinemon are all technically official Straw Hats now. Like if Vivi is a Straw Hat, then we can say that these 3 are now Straw Hats. They sailed on the ship. They got their country saved. They wanted to join, but realized they had obligations back at home. And Luffy said, hey, if you ever want to be on my ship, I will come get you. You are fully welcome. So yeah, we now have 3 more. Let's call them let's call them in-home Straw Hats. Yeah, in-home Straw Hats. The Straw Hats that stay on land. But yeah, so really exciting, really awesome, and really glad we got to see that Trick says Ziha for King. Um, yeah, no, I would not like it if in the end Blackbeard became king of the pirates. I mean, I feel like that would just ruin the entire story. Nobody, I feel like nobody, maybe besides you, wants Blackbeard to be king. Um, but yeah, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will be back next week. Keep YouTubing, YouTubers. Don't fight the fro, and always remember to stay legendary. See you later, YouTube. Bye bye.